This is just a quick review, by the way. I really didn't like this so much, I didn't decide to do a full review. Microsoft got rid of Windows Movie Maker. Although Windows Movie Maker was considered trash, it did what it needed to do and a tiny bit more. Now they have a new version of Windows Movie Maker. So here is another fishy review. Can it hold up to my minimum standards? Let's find out. In short words, it can't. That's the end. I just really don't like it. In the long words, here comes the review. Okay, here's the menu, and I don't like it at all. It looks like a 2-year-old just uncovered crayons and figured out, whoa, we can do digital art, and started to scribble an interface. This child also never touched a computer before and doesn't even know what a video is, much less edit it using, but still don't know what it meant. Although I hate how the menu for the interface looks, it still works. Oh yeah, and here's the loading screen. I personally really like it, but depending on which computer you use, I used it on a weaker Dell laptop that still works completely fine and is not bad at all. But this took about 3 minutes just to open the video, and the video itself was only like 20 minutes long, and that video kept on crashing. You can clearly tell they trashed the old Movie Maker for this new version of it, which I really don't like. Just for the interface and how everything looks, you can clearly tell that they moved all the old version to the gutter. I really like the look of the 3D effects. They look quite realistic and good, so they don't really fit with this new version very well. Trimming is easy, and resizing does not have to be its own task. Like, really, resizing is incredibly easy. Why did you have to add its own tab? And it's not even that good either. I like the look of the projects library, but it looks, again, a tiny bit childish, but I'm fine with the amount of childish that this has compared to some of the other ones. The filters are easy to add and either make the video worse, increase contrast, or do something so small you can't even tell the difference between the original and the new. Quick note, exporting is confusing and you need to click on the share button in the top right corner to actually export your video. Microsoft also added a couple of their Microsoft owned products, so you can add them to that, and either all make the money in the end by you having to pay a subscription or by the ad. I would think that they should just redesign the entire menu, and if they just change one thing, like changing the storyboard to an actual timeline, thank you very much, that could make this look a lot better. By the way, the storyboard is just Microsoft's way of making the timeline seem more beginner friendly, which is good and all, but I don't personally like it. Things Windows Movie Maker did well, Microsoft threw those out the window, and things that it did bad, they clung onto them like there's no tomorrow. And I don't know why Microsoft not gonna let the fans be. I think of some time last year, July, Microsoft stopped letting people download it for Windows 10 because they really want people to use this new one that I really don't like, which makes completely no sense to me. Here, I'll tell you why it makes no sense to me. If people like Windows Movie Maker, you still with me? Then wouldn't they want to try the new version, which should have more effects and just do everything much better? So the Microsoft gets a tiny bit more power in the end. So either way, it's a win-win situation for them until the person who's editing videos decides to move on to something better. They still get a fair bit of power out of it. So then why don't they do that is far beyond me. This kind of thing that companies do honestly drives me insane. Maybe they charge like $1.99 for it, and they kept on updating for the old Windows Movie Maker. They'd make money, they would be able to make fans happy, and they won't have people like me barging at their door. And what does Microsoft do? Not do what the smart move is. Anyway, my next off-track comment. This kind of reminds me of how they're trying to push Paint 3D as on for the new Paint, and they think they realized their mistake with Windows Movie Maker, so that's why they're not taking Paint out of Windows. But they are trying to make it harder to find them, with Paint 3D being forcefully installed by the factory, and Paint having to find that in the store now. They really want people to use this, but there's one issue with Paint 3D. It is terrible. It's somehow even worse than Paint. I mean, MS Paint is the pinnacle of all art creation, but somehow they made an even worse version of it. geared to people who can texture. I mean, it's nice that they have a free texturing thing, but why would they make it 2D and 3D and not just 3D? Maybe finally give MS Paint a tool upgrade to make it not the worst software in the world. Or what I was thinking, if they had like a animation for Paint, I would be in heaven. I mean, granted, it's probably going to be pretty bad, but come on. I'm not joking about how terrible Paint 3D is. Not in the least bit. I'm honestly probably being generous. Just open Paint 3D and tell me that you're willing to fully give up this for the old Paint. It just does everything wrong. It's confusing where things need to be easy. It's easy where things need to be complicated. It just flips everything on its head for what it's supposed to be and how it's supposed to work. Sorry about this being more of a rant than a review, but this is it for today's fishy review, and I will see you guys next time.